Hello, welcome to the Hofmann's Lockdown Lowdown, episode 3. Today we want to talk about the car that, for me at least, started it all, the Lotus Elise. We're sitting here in our lovely little Type 49 S1 Elise. This is a car we've got on commission sale for somebody. It's a very happy place for me sitting in here. The S1 Elise is a very special car for me. I distinctly remember the first time I drove one of these cars. It was at Bruntingthorpe Proving Ground on my 21st birthday. It was a birthday present. I did a Jonathan Palmer day, and one of the courses was in a little yellow, I think it was, S1 Elise, standard engine, 1.8, skiddy tyres, and the car just gelled with me. I've never before sat in a car that felt so right. The weight distribution, the brakes, the power, everything about that car I loved, and I knew I just had to have one. So a few years after that, I got my first Lotus, which was actually an S1 Exige. Which was bought off a bankrupt company locally to me, and I ran that car as a daily driver for probably 40,000 miles, and then turned it into a race car. Yeah, the first Lotus Elise I raced was in the Brick Car Championship. We did a couple of years racing that car in the championship, and we raced it in the 24-hour race at Silverstone, which was the first 24-hour race that the Brick Car had run at Silverstone. Previously they'd done it at Snetterton. We finished second in class, I think 9th or 10th overall. The car was brilliant, but that then led me into racing in the Lotus Cup Championship, which then led me into racing in the GT Cup Championship, and even a short while I raced with the factory in British GT, which was an amazing experience. So for me, it really was this car that started it all. If it wasn't for this car, I wouldn't have taken up the Lotus dealership, and if it wasn't for this car, we wouldn't be sat here today.
Racing as the lights go out, away they go. Slow start made by Gavin Kirby, but a good start made by Chris Randall, and Andrew Callum is sluggish away as well. That means that David Skaggs has gone round the outside of him, and so as they head towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time, it's Chris Randall in the lead. Everybody else funneling towards the right and Hawthorne. There's Chris Randall. He knows his way round this circuit very well. He's raced not only in GT cars, he's raced in Group C, historic Group C cars around here. So Chris Randall, we're going to go back to Walsh is 5th and Ben Pitch round 6th. As number 88, Chris Randall, looks as though he is going to be in his usual position at the end of the race. In other words, on the top step of the podium. The first of 2 races in the Lotus.
Before they break into, got to be one of the most challenging corners in British motorsport for the Sunny section here. As it Rob down the inside though, Chris Randall, race winner early this year, and it's looking like Walsh has come back. What's going to happen this time? Is there going to be another lock-up? Has he got the job done? I think he has, a bit of a lock-up, but look at Walsh trying to come back to the inside. It's going to be a tough route, I think.
Now to win the first race of the weekend here at Brands Hatch Kelp.
Chris, again, wasn't easy for you. It was quite a challenging one.
No, but it was great fun. Absolutely fantastic fun. I've been struggling. My car's been looking cool all weekend. It was shouting like 109 degrees at me, but I thought, no, it's just too much fun. I've got to carry on. But yeah, brilliant race. I mean,
We've got here a brand new Lotus Elise 220, fresh from the factory at Lotus. This is going to be the last ever Lotus Elise made. Starting with the front of the car, we've got a front-mounted radiator here. You've got high-pressure air coming through the front of the car, goes through the radiators and exits at the top of the nose here. And that provides you with some negative lift. To equalise the negative lift generated at the front of the car by the radiators, this car's got a wing at the back, and that just gives it nice aerodynamic balance. Looking in the back of the car, we've got a Toyota 2ZR engine. What's nice about this particular engine is we've actually got an engine cover. This was deleted from the cars a few years ago, and thankfully it's come back again. If we lift the engine cover, I can show you some of the oily bits inside. Right, this is one of Toyota's very best 4-cylinder engines. It's state of the art. We've got coil packs for the ignition. We've got solenoids here for the dual variable cam timing on it. Back here is where Lotus work their magic. This is a supercharger sitting down here, Roots type supercharger with a small charge cooling element. This car's running 220 horsepower. The Cup car's running anything up to 250 horsepower. Down here we've got the Toyota 6-speed gearbox. It's a very reliable package. We don't see really any problems with these, and they go like stink. Coming inside the car, the Elise is, as it's always been, very Spartan in the interior, but really you've got everything you need. You've got air conditioning here, heater unit, stereo, just a basic stereo, nothing fancy. Lotus always do stitching well. This car's got the beautiful contrast stitching through here. These are actually the basic seats. It's just a cloth here with the contrast stitching, but I think it works brilliantly, very hard wearing. You've got the engine start button over here. We went from a key to a button in more recent years, and you've got sport mode and you've got traction control. The lovely thing you get in these latest cars is this open gate gearbox. I know it gets talked about a lot, but it really is a lovely mechanism. It feels nice and it looks wonderful. I needed to make a trip to my zinc coater for some of our land restoration parts, and that seemed like a good legitimate reason to go for a drive, take some video inside the car and talk a little bit about the things we love about the Lotus Elise. Getting in and out of it's a scrabble. That's always been the way, but in some respects it makes it more of an event to drive. If you could just hop in and out like you do your everyday Vauxhall, it wouldn't be quite such an event. The Elise has never succumbed to power steering. It did succumb to power brakes. We've got servo assistance on this car. Obviously the first cars had the metal matrix brakes, which worked incredibly well, very lightweight. Sadly the company that made them went bust and they had to go to steel brakes, which is what we've got on this car. But they work well. The servo assistance, maybe you lose a little bit of something, but it isn't terrible. Certainly what is good is the ABS that came with it. S2's, the ABS wasn't so good, but on these later cars they've got a more modern Bosch system and it works very well indeed. They've always managed to get the pedal placement right, which is so important on a car like this. You really want, when you tip down a gear, nice blip of the throttle, you just want to be able to roll the edge of your foot over and grab the throttle, and you've always been able to do that on a Lotus Elise. About weight, constant bugbear of modern cars. Every time a revised model comes out, it always seems to be heavier than the last one, and that's certainly been true of the Lotus Elise. Probably the lightest one they ever made was the 340R. I remember weighing one of those with race prepared, and it being something like 615 kilos. It had a few carbon bits here and there, but really nothing too much. I think probably a standard 340R is around the 650 kilo mark. Now an S1, they always vary from car to car a little bit depending on how much adhesive the guy on the end of the gun used in the factory, but an S1 they were probably around the 725 kilo mark, something like that. When they went to S2, the bodywork got a little bit heavier. Actually the lightest bodywork was the early wet layer glass fibre. Surprisingly, the method they used for making the newer cars from S2 forwards is a more controlled process, but actually the material's slightly heavier, so they added a bit of weight. These very latest cars have added a bit more weight too, but most of it's unavoidable. I don't think we can criticise too much. It's an absolute requirement that we've got airbags. It's an absolute requirement that we've got ABS. There's a a bit more sound deadening in the cars. I think it'd be rude not to have a bit of fun around the roundabout while we're here. Oh, too many cars on the road. We'll have to lock down. There we go, around again. Why not? See with Lotus, you get a little bit of push at the early phase of the corner, you lift a bit, let the back go round, and then they just tend to grip. Nice thing with Elises, I always find if you drive through the town centre in a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, you don't necessarily have the most positive reception, whereas if you drive through the town centre in a Lotus Elise, everyone smiles. It's a friendly car. You're not intimidating other people off the road. It's just a nice place to be. You get smiles and waves as you go. I want to talk to you a little bit about the price. When the S1 debuted, it was around about £20,000. Probably by the time you've spec'd a radio and things, £22,000, something in that order. This exact car today, we've just sold this recently for £40,000. Many people will compare this to the value of a Boxster or an MX-5. And I understand that for a two-seater Spartan car with a basic radio, £40,000 sounds like a lot of money. But what you've got to remember is that this car is handmade. There's no robots buzzing around this. This is not a car that's made in thousands or tens of thousands. This is a car that's made in very, very small numbers. You're talking hundreds of cars a year. And whenever you make a car in small numbers, it costs you a lot more to build. And what you get for your £40,000, it's not only the best handling car you can buy, but it's also exclusivity. You know, there's few cars today that are sold in this small numbers, and if you want to drive down the road in the same car that the next man is driving, then all very well, save yourself some money. But if you want exclusivity, pay the price and buy this car here. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode.